I will sing the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God.
Session 3 of the goodness of God. And today I'm looking at God as Father. Now this might be a negative thing to some people if your father was abusive or he was controlling or maybe just affectionately not there or simply walked out on the family. And so you've got a negative picture of Father and want to apply that to God. But the truth is, God is the perfect Father, and he actually wants us to experience his fatherhood in a way that heals our hurts and fulfills all the things that we've longed for in a father. Our Heavenly Father is a good Father. Now, the notion of fatherhood in the Old Testament was that of where the oldest man of the family was the patriarch, and he had responsibilities for the whole extended family. He was to see that they were provided for. He was to see that they were trained up in the way they should go, and he just had the responsibility to protect them. So this was something that was right through society in that time. When the patriarch died, the oldest son would get the majority of the inheritance, and this wasn't because he was the favourite son. This was because he then took on the responsibility of the whole extended family. And that's the imagery that we need to look at with God. He's the ultimate patriarch. He's there to provide for our needs. He's there to see that we're brought up in the way we should go, and he's our protector. God is pictured as Father in the Old Testament, but it's usually in terms of Israel as his children. When Moses went to confront Pharaoh in Exodus chapter 4, it says, God told him to say, Israel is my firstborn son, let my son go, that he may worship me. In Deuteronomy, Moses uses the picture of God as Father to speak to the people about what God is like. And it says this in chapter 1, verse 30. The Lord your God who is going before you will fight for you as he did for you in Egypt before your very eyes and in the desert. There you saw how the Lord your God carried you as a father carries his son, all the way you went until you reached this place. A picture of a tender father lovingly carrying his little son when the going gets rough. Later in chapter 8, he's speaking to them about their time in the wilderness, and he says this, Know then in your heart that as a man disciplines his son, so the Lord your God disciplines you. And why a man would discipline his son is because he wants the child to learn right from wrong. It's the best outcome for the child. So God is likened to a good and loving father. Psalm 103:13. As a father has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear him. And then there's a lovely picture in Hosea chapter 11 of Israel as the son. When Israel was a child, I loved him. Out of Egypt I called my son. But the more I called Israel, the further they went from me. They sacrificed to Baals and they burnt offerings to images. It was I who taught Ephraim to walk, taking them by the arms, but they did not realize it was I who healed them. I led them with cords of human kindness and ties of love. I lifted the yoke from their neck and bent down to feed them. It's such a tender picture of a loving father. And so God is seen as this loving father with his little child, and also seeing the disappointment of the father when the child just wanders away. The picture of perfect fatherhood of God is there in the Old Testament, but it isn't until the coming of Jesus that we get a real revelation of the fatherhood of God.
Oh, I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like, but I've heard the tender whisper of love in the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm It's love so undeniable. I can hardly speak. Peace so unexplainable. I can hardly think as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still into love, love, love. You're a good, good father. Who you are, it's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. I will sing in the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness